You just inherited a big pot of money and you don't know what to do. Inheritance advice right now here in this video. Hey guys, I'm Rob Tatro from robtatro.com, portfolio manager here at Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management and the Tatro Wealth Advisor Group. Today, we are talking about a fantastic topic. First off, my condolences if you are watching this video and you recently had a loss. My sincere condolences. That must be difficult. Our thoughts are with you on that. Now you're faced with some decisions. You've got an inheritance. You've got to make some decisions. How do you invest? What do you do? How do you properly plan? That's what we are talking about today. And I'm bringing in none other than the expert head of wealth and estate planning, Adam Buss. Thank you for joining us, Adam. Great to have you here.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me back again.
All right. This is a fun one. This is really fun. And I think it's really interesting because a lot of people who are coming into these types of questions, they're loaded with questions because it's not just the investments. It's not just, there's the planning aspect, there's the taxation aspect, there's the estate planning, there's financial planning, there's retirement planning, there's distribution of assets, there's taxation of assets, a lot of different things we got to look at here. So let's start from the top, Adam. So, an individual comes forward to us or an individual who's watching the video recently had a loss. Our condolences again. They've gotten money. This is now found money. So this is new money that they didn't have, not invested in the market. It's currently just sitting in cash. Should it be treated differently than kind of fully invested money? And how would you take a look at that?
Oh, Rob, that's a good one. I mean, it's different for everybody. I mean, it depends if we are dealing with a spouse who's grieving, who just lost their spouse. They're getting maybe some life insurance payouts, pension payouts, all kinds of different sources. Perhaps they weren't the one who was dealing with the finances on a regular basis. So we need to really slow things down, walk them through the process. Certainly don't encourage anybody in those situations to make like major financial changes, but we certainly want to help them. We want to give them the right advice, make sure the money's properly invested. We're here to help them work through it.
So for me, the first question I always ask whenever I sit down in front of someone is, okay, is this your first experience with the market? If this is your first experience with actual real assets that are going to be invested in the market, well, then we need to take a bit of time to explain kind of how the market works, right? We're going to have periods where we're up a ton. We're going to have periods where we're down. Overall, we're going to be invested long-term. Here's what we expect to return with your money. And if we're not comfortable with the risk tolerance, obviously my job and all that, Adam, and you know this, is to reduce the risk, right? Reduce the volatility for the portfolio and take the client along the line of making sure they understand they're going to get consistent cash flow and making sure that the portfolio makes sense. And then the whole question of paying down debt or investing. What are your thoughts there, Adam?
Again, it comes down to everybody's a little bit different. I usually say, let's hold off on maybe paying off the debt specifically for the moment. Let's just continue to make the payments. We can work with the clients. We can set up an income stream. We do this every day with the clients to make sure that there's enough money to pay off the mortgage so they don't have to stress about that on a monthly basis because they got enough stress at the moment. We can figure that out. That's at the end of the day, a detail that we are going to give the clients advice for and make sure that we are walking with them and helping them through this difficult time.
Yeah. And if you're unsure on any of this, please go to www.speaktorob.com. We'd love to book a no obligation consultation for you to chat with us about this or anything else on your mind with respect to inheritance or investments. I always say, Adam, I mean, if the individual truly appreciates and understands returns and market and leveraging, the math on this typically ends up being way better off in the client's favor if they actually don't pay down their debt, right? Because let's say you got $1 million, you could generate, in a balanced portfolio anywhere from 5 to 10% annualized. And that 5 to 10% annualized is going to generate a lot more for you than you're likely to be paying on your mortgage, which, right now, most people are somewhere around 2%, 2.5%. So there's a ton of money to be made there on the leverage. And if the goal is to increase your wealth, the maximum that it could possibly increase, mathematically, it makes a lot of sense most times to not pay down the debt. And what ends up being the decision breaker or maker for most individuals is how comfortable are they with having debt? Do they want to erase that debt? Do they simply want to wipe the slate clean and start from scratch with no more debt? And a lot of people, that's what they want. And we help them and talk them through that, right, Adam?
Yeah, you bet, Rob. And that also leads us to the next kind of area of inheritance is, a married couple, perhaps a parent passes away. Now they have this new money, this found money. What do they do with it? It's obviously, one spouse was parent. Did they use that cash to pay down the debt? Do they invest it in a joint account? Do they invest it in their GFSAs or their RSPs? We got to be careful and make sure we give them the right advice when it comes to commingling that money. Because as soon as the inheritance is potentially commingled, i.e. paying off the mortgage or investing it in a joint investment account, well, now that's family money potentially. So in the event of potential marriage breakdown, that money could be accessible by the other partner.
That's a big one that very few people kind of have the foresight to think of, right? Young couple, you inherit a big sum. One of the spouse inherits a big sum. mingles it, it becomes a marital asset, they separate 3-4 years later, well, the inheritance is gone, right? In the eyes of the court and in the eyes of the law. And by the way, if this is a concern for you, I believe we do have some videos, check them out. We do have some videos on properly setting up estate planning and trusts, right? To take a look at how you can effectively protect the lineage of your money, right? Through trust and through proper testamentary planning. It's stuff that we could do as well for you if that is a concern. Now, the first thing that you'll typically do with your investments, Adam, let's assume I have no money, no assets, no investments, and I inherit, I don't know, 500 grand. What would your typical advice be with respect to putting some in the TFSA, putting some in the RSP, and putting some kind of in my personal non-registered?
Well, we have the conversation with the clients as to how they view this money. What do they have intentions on it? Perhaps their mom and dad, said, do something fun with it. Take the family on a holiday, buy something nice for yourself. Everybody's kind of got different intentions in mind for that money. So we want to identify that as part of their goals and objectives. Ideally, hey, if they don't have their TFSAs maxed out, let's take full advantage of maximizing those accounts. And then we probably look at the non-registered from there and say, let's put the money to work and make sure that's invested properly and generating some income for them.
And if you're getting a relatively high tax bracket, if you're in a high tax bracket and you have a high marginal tax rate, we'll definitely look at making an RSP contribution. If you have RSP contribution room, we'll take a look at that. How much can we put in? Does it make sense to use all the contribution room this year? Do you want to spread the contribution room out? How do we structure that? What about the RESP? If you've never contributed, how many years back can you go? If it's the first time you're getting money and you got 2 or 3 or 4 kids, you can go $2,500 per child this year. You can go back a year. Next year, you can do the same thing. You can get caught up pretty quick. And maybe mom and dad would have liked to see some of that money go towards the education of your kids. So, that's something we could definitely consider and take a look at. Basically, the bottom line when it comes to inheritance advice is that the money, every aspect of planning needs to be discussed, analyzed. And at the end of the day, you're going to be using this money to improve your situation, either your wealth now, your wealth in the future, or, your multi-generational wealth, either your kids or the favorite charities of your choice or whatever it may be. So we want to make sure we're advising you properly on that, right, Adam?
Yes. Yeah. It's different for everybody. Some clients I work with, they expect an inheritance at some point and they rely on that for their retirement goals. They need that to live their retirement dream. And other people view it as truly it's found money. It's bonus money. We don't know what to do with it.
Go to Vegas and put it on black. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. Do not do that. And that's not going to be our advice. All right. Well, that was great, Adam. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, go to www.speaktorob.com. We'd love to book a no obligation consultation. I'm Rob Tatro from robtatro.com, here with Adam Buss, Wealth and Estate Planning Specialist. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Have yourself a fantastic day, and we will see you in the next video.